I will look back as a Liverpool fan at Jurgen Klopp's time at our club, and I will look at it as a massive, massive success.
100%.
If Pep Guardiola doesn't lift old big ears for Manchester City, will he be looked at as a success by Manchester City
Look at
fans?
the shirt I'm wearing, man. When people look back at this era of football in general, I think people will say that was the Pep Guardiola era. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to Klopp. I think everything that most managers do has very much come after what Guardiola's done. I think he's changed the face of football for the past 10, 15 years. And that is because he's had some world-class players at his disposal, but he's given them that identity to be who they are. Klopp, as fantastic as he is, I don't think he's quite yet had that stamp. Even though Liverpool are currently a better team in terms of results, I think the best football still is from Manchester City. And I think it'll always be that way when Guardiola's managing a team. His team will always be the team that plays the best football for me. And I think that's special because I don't think anyone else in the world can do that.
So, Stephen, I disagree with you on the style of football. Nobody is going to say that Pep Guardiola's football isn't easy on the eye. But with Jurgen Klopp's style of football, you get passion, you get grit, you get the heart. It would have been easy for this Liverpool squad to have suffered the heartbreak that they did last season, and for Jurgen Klopp and those players to have let their heads fall. But he refused to do that.
He did, you're right. He's good at clubs like Liverpool. I mean, I think the way Guardiola's teams represent himself as a person, Klopp's teams represent what he's like as a person as well. He's enigmatic, he's passionate, he's a fantastic manager. I think that's probably one of the flaws of Klopp's teams in general. Is that in the same way that Guardiola's kind of passing thing doesn't work, I think Klopp's, if the emotional side and the intensity doesn't work, I still think he's sometimes lacking a bit of a plan B. I mean, not everyone has to have a plan, B, C, D, and E, and Guardiola certainly doesn't either. He's very much a man who sticks to what he wants.
I disagree with you on the plan B because I think that Jurgen Klopp has outwitted Pep Guardiola more than any other manager.
He's definitely his kryptonite. I don't know what it is. It's like the way that Liverpool can't beat United at Old Trafford for whatever reason.
Martin Atkinson.
Yeah, well, I guess it's City fans collecting bottling at Anfield for whatever reason. But I also believe in general that Liverpool are as good as they are now simply because of what Guardiola did raise the level. And I 100% believe Liverpool wouldn't be getting the points totals that they've got if City hadn't been there first. And I think there's always people that have to rise the tide to a higher level. And I think that's accepted because we're seeing unprecedented levels of quality in the Premier League at the moment. It's genuinely, this has never happened before, this domination. It's because someone else has raised the standards to a level that people said he couldn't do. I know he spent a lot of money, but people said he couldn't do that in the Premier League, and he has totally dominated. And as a result, Klopp's followed. And I think that's the thing is, Guardiola for me leads.
You've spoken about the Premier League. I have to lead us into the elephant in the room with regards to Pep Guardiola.
Carabao Cup, yeah.
And that is, of course, the Champions League. He won it with a Barcelona team. I won't disrespect him by saying that was just because he had Messi in it and stuff. No, but he did go to Germany.
Yeah.
Didn't win a Champions League there. Hasn't won a Champions League with the resources you freely admitted that he's had at Manchester City. Jurgen Klopp has done it at Liverpool. What? He was deemed to be a failure by many people because he lost so many finals in a row, but that was just circumstance.
Well, I mean, Liverpool, they are a Champions League kind of club, you know. You've got an emotional fan base, and it's one of your biggest strengths. Genuinely, it's that whole that cliche about famous nights at Anfield, and it does happen. People do feel the intensity on certain nights, and I think that very much plays into it. And for one, I don't believe Klopp would win the Champions League anywhere else. I think he wins at Liverpool because he's found a perfect match for his personality and his style that feeds into the crowd. Guardiola, though, I agree, he probably would say it's one of his biggest weaknesses, but he's only been a manager for like 9-10 years, so if he wins another one with City anytime soon, he's probably won it in 1 in 3 or 4 seasons that he's been a manager, and that's not too bad.
One of the things that I love about Jurgen Klopp, and I think that draws me and Liverpool fans to him, is that for him it's more than just about taking a job. He turned down the Bayern Munich job, He turned down many big jobs. It's not that he believes in a project, he believes in a city, he believes in a culture, he believes in an atmosphere, and that's the reason why I think he's more endearing than Pep Guardiola. I think that he will bring Liverpool to places that we've never been before. I mean, we all know the noose that's round our neck. I'm not going to jinx anything by talking about it, but it's looking all right. If you had told me last year, Craig, at the start of the season, you're going to have 97 points, I would have bitten your hand off. But you are right what you said a few minutes ago. The greatness needs greatness to drive each other on, and I think one thing we've seen between the two managers is mutual admiration.
Yeah, and I agree about the point that, you know, Klopp does choose the teams where he's going to fit, but that's one thing I would say is Klopp does suit a certain kind of club. Dortmund, they're very similar to Liverpool that way in terms of that. I mean, it's almost like he moved over from the Liverpool of Germany to, you know, it's just a very similar.
Socialist working class.
Yeah, it's that very thing, but
background.
like I am not sure Klopp could do the same thing at Real Madrid. The city's very different. I don't think you'd feel at home there. Honestly, I think Guardiola could get that kind of football working anywhere, but I feel like Klopp needs that fans behind him and needs that intensity more than Guardiola does. I think he genuinely does, because I think his style is built on that.
You're saying that like it's a negative.
It's not negative,
surely
no.
a positive.
It's not a negative at all, but I feel he's a little bit more... I feel like Guardiola could take his football to more places than Klopp could and be more successful.
I will look back as a Liverpool fan at Jurgen Klopp's time at our club, and I will look at it as a massive, massive success.
100%.
If Pep Guardiola doesn't lift old big ears for Manchester City, will he be looked at as a success by Manchester City
Look at
fans?
the shirt I'm wearing, man. like I watched us get relegated, and I've seen City break records that I didn't even know were records under Guardiola. He genuinely changed the landscape of English football, in my humble opinion. He's broken basically every record football had to offer. Look at the football young English players play now. It's post-Guardiola.
This is an argument that will go on for a very long time. I firmly believe that my Liverpool side are the greatest in the Premier League era. Stephen believes that Manchester City are. But the question that we really want to know now is, which manager is the greatest? You decide, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, subscribe, let us know. Is it Klopp or is it Pep?